Good morning to everyone. We are going to get started in just a moment. Hopefully you all can hear me. Good morning. Good morning. And just want to do an audio check. The $1 million question. Can you all hear me at this point? Yes, perfect. Thank you. And yes, we will be recording this training. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. First of all, again, good morning to everyone and welcome to PTD Technology Spring Enrollment End of Year Completion Training. I am Dewana Ross McCrary, and I will be taking you through some information to help you submit your enrollment data. Okay, so I always like to provide just an overview of Cdis for new users, potentially. Oh, perfect. It seems like we do have some new users. Welcome to everyone. Just to give an overview of Cdis, Cdis is a web-based application that allows you to report enrollment information for state-approved CTE programs to the state of Michigan. To access Cdis, you log into the system at My Login for third party using your My Login username and password. By selecting Cdis, you will be navigated to the Cdis homepage. We also like to make a special note. The average building level reporter will focus on completing 3 reports throughout the course of the year. Enrollment and collection processes take place throughout the year. Specifically for enrollment, there are 3 intervals of collection. Beginning in September, fall course collection completed in October. Your spring collection, including your credentials and work-based learning, just like we're doing now, are completed in June, and your expenditures reporting begin in September and complete in November. And then the final is your follow-up data collection, begin in October and complete in January. So again, if you are new to Cdis, welcome. And if you are new, this is your first spring enrollment collection, you will need to reference information that is beyond the scope of this training. You may download the materials that are referenced in this training from the Cdis knowledge base at support.cdis.com. And the information that I will go through today is taken out of the Enrollment and Completion Collection Guide, which can also be found on the knowledge base under Enrollments. And I will be navigating there. I'm going to be going back and forth on my screen a lot this morning to show you our knowledge base as well as to demo some of the procedures for the enrollment and completion collection. All right, so what's new this spring? As I stated in my intro, My Login, it launched in February. So My Login is the state of Michigan's single sign-on software that will allow users to access the Career and Technical Information System, or Cdis. You must have a My Login to access Cdis. So if you have not signed up, you can visit the Cdis knowledge base, and I'll show you where that is, on how to sign up and get instructions on how to sign up for My Login for third party. So I'll navigate where that is. It's on our knowledge base. You look for the data entry tab, and then you select My Login for Cdis, but I'll show you in a moment. Spring enrollment due to OCTE, June 23rd, is something else we want to make note of. Your EMC, dual enrollment, and work-based learning is also due at this time. Preliminary credentials due June 23rd, and then your final credentials are due August 31st. Students need to be enrolled in classes by May 13th, so OCTE can match the records to the MSDS. So those are just some important dates that you want to keep in mind. Also important to keep in mind that the whole purpose is to attempt to maximize student advancement through your programs. And we also want to make note that there has been a change in the way we categorize advancement status. So because of the switch from segments to competencies, for some of you who are new, we used to refer to advancement as completers or your segments, but now it's going to advancement. We use the term advancement and competencies. So on your screen on the slide, concentrators. Okay, this is just two categories that we're going to discuss at this time. But your concentrators, to be identified as a concentrator, you have completed at least 8 segments with a 2.0 grade or higher. And then your Perkins 5, which is your competency, you'll have 2 Perkins core competencies. That's to be identified as a concentrator. To be identified as more than a concentrator, which used to be the completer status, you will have completed all 12 segments of a CTE program and with a 2.0 grade or higher. And then your Perkins 5 requirement, you would have 3 or more Perkins core competency. Or you can have 2 Perkins core competencies plus an OCTE approved credential. So as we make this switch over, you will see a lot of information that will have both the segments and competency requirements. So just keep that in mind. The purpose of this training is to assist you with data collection for enrollments and to ensure that you maximize your student advancement. This training outlines the best practices for data entry, which includes manual data entry using Cdis screens or by importing data using the file import feature, which allows users to upload error-free records into your Cdis database at any time. This training focuses on the importance of reviewing your data with the help of Cdis validation and reporting tools. So with your spring enrollment data collection, your spring enrollment data determines how funds will be distributed next year. So the things that you need to verify is that your CTE course sections are entered accurately, your teachers are properly assigned to classes, students have valid UICs, students are enrolled in the correct courses and will receive segments and/or competencies they need. Your credentials are linked to your students correctly, and your work-based learning experiences are recorded. Just some more information. What is CTE Enrollment and Completion Collection? It's the annual report required by OCTE that verifies your student, teacher, and class enrollment data. The important uses of your data is that it updates student advancement verification, which is extremely important. It allows the state to adhere to federal reporting requirements, and it determines next year's funding allocations. So again, although we will cover a great deal in this training, you may still require assistance. Know that help is available to you. We want to let you know that your technical help, if you need technical assistance regarding data collection for questions, if you need assistance entering or importing your data, or for any issues related to Cdis operations or usage, we ask that you contact the PTD help desk directly. You could do so by using our email, cdis.help at ptdtechnology.com or by our 1-800 number, 800-203-0614 or 517-333-9363. Both numbers use extension 128. So that's if you have technical questions, if there's something not working out for you on the technical end. If you have questions regarding policy, specifically why something is recorded, those questions need to be directed to OCE directly. And you can contact Joan Church, and that's her email is churchj@michigan.gov, and her telephone number is 517-335-0360. So you just want to make a special note of that. Okay, there are 4 main types of data that need to be entered into Cdis for the enrollment and completion collection. Your course data and an instructional design form is recommended. Your student data, your enrollment data, and your grades. Okay, so after entering your information, I'm sorry. Yes, this PowerPoint is also available on the knowledge base, and I'll show you where that information is in just a moment. So after you enter your information, you want to make sure by verifying that your correct data is entered in. It's required. Okay. You want to review your student profiles to ensure that your student get the advancement statuses that they need. And then you submit your compiled data for fiscal agent review. All right, so that's the whole process. In today's training, we will try to mimic going through those processes by the demos. So we just want to make note of that. So to do that, I have an outline of topics. Today's training will cover courses, staff, students, enrollments, grades, credentials, work-based learning, and then we will review and validate. So again, we're going to try to demo that information using the Train Cdis site. And I would like to point out, if you would like to follow along with us by demonstrating some of these procedures as well, you can use train.cdis.com. And I was informed that you can use your My Login credentials if you do have that set up. And you can follow along by demonstrating as well without messing up your information in your systems. So if you want to just use that train site to practice, you can do that. I'm going to go now and change my screen to show you our knowledge base that I've been referring to and where you can find all of this information. So just give me a second to get over there. Okay, so what you should see on your screen now is the homepage of our support.cdis.com. This is the knowledge base that I was referring to. If you scroll down, a lot of the dates that I mentioned as far as collection dates and your deadlines are all listed on the right-hand side. So you can use that for your reference. These here are also links to a lot of the information that I will be going through today. So you can click this and it will link you to different areas. Specifically, if you hover over data entry and select the first one, this is where we're going to be. But just to give reference again, I said for my login for Cdis, you can click this link and that will take you to the instructions to set up your my login if you haven't done so. So today we're going to be in the enrollment section. And this is our enrollments. So we're in this middle column here. under the Enrollment and Completion collection set. The guide that I will be working directly out of is located here. So if you want to follow along in our guide, I will be giving you pages to reference all of the information. The guide is there. If you would like to download or reference the PowerPoints, they're located there that I will use during this training, as well as the training videos. If you want to go back and reference the training videos, you can find that link here. A lot of the other information that I'll be covering, the Managed Credentials guide is over here under Special Collections towards the far right of your screen. Managed Credentials, your credentials approved and non-approved that have been updated, that's here. Your work-based learning guide. I will be going over some of that information coming up, so you can also find those links there. Okay, and this again, support.cdis.com is where I am right now. Okay, so that's where we're headed. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So our first section that we will cover today, just give me a second to pull that up for you, is manage courses. Okay, so the manage courses screen allows you to add, edit, and review course sections and segments. Course sections and segments are very important in identifying advancement. The course sections, segments, and competencies are critical to determining your student's advancement status, as well as the 61A1 added cost funds your programs may be eligible to receive. So you want to make sure all of your information is correct and recorded properly. Again, as I was stating earlier, your students are identified as enrollees, participants, concentrators, or more than concentrators, based on the segments and competencies reported for each section in which they receive a minimum of 2.0. Okay. In this section, we're going to cover how to add courses, how to import courses, how to do a mass edit, and then course review. So those are the sections that we're going to cover. All right, so just to get us started in our guide, I'm going to change my screen just to show that information. Okay, so this is our enrollment and completion guide. This is the link that I showed you earlier. So a lot of the information that I went through is also located here. The technical help, as well as the policy help information is there. We're going to go to manage courses. If you're following along in the guide, we're going to be on page 14. Some of the dates and different points of reporting is also in this guide on page 9. So if you want to reference that. And then on page 10, there's links also to some of the information that we're going to be using today. So you could just make note of that. Okay, so we're under managed courses, and the managed, as I stated, we're going to add, edit, and review course sections. The importance of course sections and segments. Again, it helps to determine information for the 61A1 added cost funds. But to give another reference to our categories of advancement, your enrollee is a student who has completed here, your participant, your concentrator, and then more than a concentrator. And that information is on page 14 and 15 of our guide. Okay, I mentioned earlier the concentrator and more than concentrator, but this is the information for the enrollee and participant. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to page 16, and it shows us where to go to get started. So I'm going to navigate my screen there. And this is the train.cdis.com so that we can demonstrate some of our procedures. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so the first set of instructions that we're going to do is we've already logged in. As you see, I'm logged in here. So we'll use my login for third party and login. You hover over the data entry menu, and you're going to select manage courses, which is the second option. Okay, so in Cdis, a course section is in Cdis, a course section is also referred to as a course, and it is defined by its parent program, location, time, and duration, staff, and content. Courses may be further divided into subsections, and the instruction provided in each class is represented as a series of curriculum standards called segments. As we stated, 12 segments or competency requirement exists in all, and each course subsection delivers between 1 and 11 segments or competencies of material to students enrolled in the class. All right, so on page 17 of our guide, you define a course section according to its zip code, its program type, the time of year, the time of day, the instructor, and the content. Is it too late in the year to change courses already entered? That question, you mean to completely not edit a course, but to change course material? Okay. I would have to check on that and get back to you as far as changing course material. It could possibly be a Joan Church question, but I'll check into it for you. Okay, so I'll check into that for you, and I'll get that information. Okay. So the first step in reporting your Cdis data is to ensure that you have properly created your course sections, and courses may be entered in two ways. You can manually enter your courses, or you can import your courses with the help of the import feature. Most course sections follow a standard setup procedure except for family and consumer sciences program. So FCS programs. I was informed that the majority of people will not have to worry about family and consumer sciences, but if you do, have to contact the help desk directly. Learning those, okay? So on my screen, I'm in a manage courses, the manual way to manage courses, and we're going to select our district, okay? So it shows here that I could select my district, and then it lists 121 records of all of the courses that are active in my district. Can you all hear me now? Okay. I'm sorry about the audio if it's cutting in and out. I'm not getting a message as far as my my internet. I believe it's working. Let me try to make an adjustment. 1 second. Okay. All right, great. Good. Okay, yeah. Just let me know if it cuts out again. And then I'll make another adjustment. I do apologize if it's cutting in and out. Okay, so I was selecting my district and it lists all of the active courses within the district. It's 121 records. So view active courses is what this button here. If I want to view all courses, both active and inactive courses, I can click that button and now it shows both inactive courses. That information might be helpful if you're trying to copy course information, but right now we're going to use the active course button. So all of the active courses are here. Okay, so I have it here. Just to give you a little keys and points that you could possibly use. I'm sorry. Okay. Just to give you a few keys and points that you can use, if you hover over the columns, you can use the filtering options. So you can filter how you kind of view the courses in here, because this is a lot of information. So just a little trick to kind of do that. If you want to type in a specific, let's say, I want to look at the automotive courses specifically, I can type that in to kind of filter and just look at automotive. And that works for all of the columns here. To view if a course is active or non-active, it's located in the far right column. And all the information is here, the staff, the room, the start and end dates. So all of that information is there. I can export this information to review this information offline if I wanted to do that. So all of that is an option. I can also use this search bar here to try to search for the specific information that I'm looking for. But for this demonstration, we're going to go to create a new course, and that's the button here. Okay, let me I'm looking at the chat and I'm just getting more information on the question raised earlier about changing courses. Okay. So I'm creating a new course. I'm going to select my building. And then I'm going to select a program, whichever program that applies to what I'm trying to create here. So we'll just, for demonstration, we'll click that. Okay, so we see that the screen has now navigated. It's basically the bottom. So all of our active courses are still here, but now we're at the bottom in a manual entry mode. Okay, so if you're following along on in our guide, we're on pages 19 and 20. Okay, so we want to enter in all of the information. I want to bring your attention to the specific information that's highlighted by an asterisk. If it's highlighted by an asterisk, it's information that needs to be entered for Cdis to update the system. Okay, so we want to enter in the course section code, the course local course name, the start date, the end date, and the semester. Okay, so the course section code uniquely identifies each class with a specific building. All right, the local course name identifies your course. And the course start and end date are the dates where the courses begin and end. And then your semester here, it's a drop down. You can select the semester: first semester, second semester, summer session, trimester, or special semester. Okay. For this demonstration, I only have one option, just for this, but you may have more information on yours. So just keep that in mind. Now, a special point to bring up: we may not, you don't have an asterisk for room numbers or course periods, but that information might be useful for your records. So it's not required for Cdis, but you might want to enter in that information to make sure that all your records match and are accurate. Okay. The next is the virtual delivery mode. And this is whether or not a course is virtual. Okay, so we have a couple options here: not virtual, online, blended, or digital. So you could select one of those when creating your courses. um, the course type, we're on to page 23. And this section is used to supply 61B funding information, as well as teacher student data link information required for dually enrolled students and those participating in early middle college programs. Okay, so you can select the secondary CTE course if no dual or concurrent enrollment college credit or college on your college transcript. So it's not going to have dual or concurrent enrollment. You could select the first option. If it does, check in the post-secondary CTE course, you can then enter in high school or college credit information. So this is all information that's required to create a course. Just to bring your attention over here, it gives me the type, the PSN, all of my operating and fiscal agent information, and then the type of course or type of program that I'm creating this course under. So it says that this is a P4, which is a Perkins 4 course, which brings me to the segment profile here. So if this was a Perkins 5 course, it would say Competency Profile. And you need to make sure that you enter in all of the appropriate information for the segments. And we're on to page 23. okay, of our guide. And subsections are used to indicate the instruction defined by segments enrolled students receive in the course. So at least one of the 4 available subsections must be enabled in each course section, and most reporters use subsection A. Groups are, let's see, down to page 24, there's information specifically to subsections and segments. So if you want to reference that information, you can on page 24 of our guide. So you would select however the course is set up. And then just to bring your attention to down here at the bottom, we're on page 24, just information to make note of. A segment Q. So you see that we have the numerical segment profile in our profile panel. There's the numerical, and then there's segment Q on the bottom. And segment Q is when a course covers specialized or advanced program content, and that's beyond the state program standards. That content is delivered as segment Q. And this is for students who have already received credit for all 12 segments within a program. Okay, so when segment Q is marked within a subsection, no other segments may be reported within that same subsection. And then just as we have been talking about all morning, there's the P5. So I'm just going to click on this just for a demonstration, just to show you how the information is entered in for P5. So all of the information is entered: the course section, the local course, start and end dates, the semester, the room number, the period, whether or not it's virtual or offers the secondary or post-secondary. I've selected that. And then it says competency profile here. Okay, so I've selected the information pertaining to the course. And then Z, just like with course I've specialized in STEM, designed for students who have already received all competencies within a zip code. So just like with the Q competency, Q segment, this Z competency is marked within, when it is marked within a subsection, no other competencies may be reported within that same subsection. Again, page 26. So that's what the Z is. All right. And as you see, it's a little different than the segments. We have A1, A2, A3. With the segment, we just had 1, 2, 3. So just make note of that information when you're entering in, that all of your information matches. Sure. I can do something again. All right. Let's see. I was I was in the create a course, where I created a course, or attempting to demonstrate how to create a course manually. And these are blank. So all I did was click the create new course button, and then I can enter in all of the information from my instructional design form that the instructors have provided. Okay, so as I stated, it does differ depending on whether it's a Perkins 4 or a Perkins 5 course. This competency profile will change. So this is a Perkins 5, so we have a competency profile. So then I will enter in all of the information for the course here under the competency profile. But if it was a Perkins 4 course, I'll give you an example in just a moment. I had to go back out. 1 second. If it's a Perkins 4, then it will say segment profile, and then you can enter in the segments if that's needed. Okay. And then once I enter in all of my information manually, I've entered in all of my required core information. Just bring your attention to the core staff panel. I can select my core staff if I want to link it at this time. If I want to link it right now, I can go in as I'm creating my course and I can select my core staff. I can enter in the name of the staff if I know the staff person's name. I can enter in that information here and then to click to search that. Once that information comes up, I can then add a add the information to the staff member. Just to give you a demo of entering in a pick number. Let's see if I get a good one for this demonstration. 653-054. All right, so this is just an example. If I was to enter in the staff information, let's try that again. 3-5. So then I could pull up my staff. This is just for demo purposes, but this is tied to that number. I can then click that staff to add it to the course, and now you can see that the staff is now added. I've selected all of the information pertaining to the segment, entered in the course information, and whatever the course is, and then I can select add course down here at the bottom. Uh, um, and manually. If you're on our guide on page 27, that's that information again about the family and consumer science information. So again, if you need assistance with input information, please contact the help desk regarding it because it's a little different for those courses. All right, on page 25, just a little more information about dual enrollment and early middle college information. Let's see if I can select the course just to kind of get up here something while I'm talking here. Okay, so just again, information pertaining to that on page 28 of our guide, if we wanted to do that. I've already went through how to search and use the information up here to search courses. So that's page 30. Um, the next thing I could do is I can edit course information. So as you see, I pulled a course from the grid here in my district. I've clicking on the book icon opens the course information, and then you can go in and change start dates or end dates if you want to edit. We're on page 30 of our guide. You can edit information if the room or course period changes. If it's offered in a different semester, I can go through and select that. If I need to change the dates again, I could do that. Now the course is no longer not virtual. It's a blended course. I can go in and do that just as it was a few years ago when we switched to virtual. I can go in and make those changes. The instructor changed information, so I can use this trash icon to delete the instructor information and then just go through the procedure for entering in that information for a new instructor here by clicking on this icon. I can add. And then I would just click the update course button at the bottom once I made all of my necessary changes. So that's how you would edit course information, just a single course. Okay.
If I need to copy course information, I could, again, by selecting the book icon here, I can scroll down and copy course information. You can copy the details from a course section in your database and apply them to a new course section. And this is beneficial to building reporters who must enter recurring classes. So if you have to enter recurring classes, you might want to use the copy course feature. You could quickly generate additional sections of a course while preserving segmenting information and other details specific to the class. So that's why you would copy a course. I've already showed how to determine a course status on page 32 of our guide. The course status is determined if it's active over here in the corner by the yes or the no. Just to give an example of the no. So these are courses that are not active. If I wanted to deactivate a course for any reason, on page 33, I can go through again, selecting the book icon and scrolling down to the bottom and clicking the deactivate course button. If I don't have any enrollments in the course is no longer needed on our system, I could go through and deactivate it. Want to make a special note, you may not reactivate an inactive course. However, Cdis does preserve the details of inactive courses, allowing you to copy them into fresh course sections at any time. So just like we noted above, these are inactive courses, so the information is still there for us to use. Okay, we're on to page 35, and it's adding staff to courses. Okay, so if there again, if I want to do that while I'm creating the course, this is the course staff panel. As I stated, I can select the staff type. So we have primary, secondary, additional full-time, additional part-time, secondary full-time, secondary part-time. I can select that depending on how they're registered in the system with the state. So that information is on page 35. I can select my staff information. And as you see in this example, this is the staff number, the staff pick number. I'm sorry, the staff name, the staff pick number, and then this is a primary instructor for this course. The no over on the end there is indicating whether or not the staff is a mentor. Okay, and a mentor information is located on page 36 if that relates to your courses, whether or not you will be adding mentors who help instructors in your courses. So that's what that no is over there. So this is our primary instructor, and it's not a mentor. So that information is also available. And again, if I want to edit staff information, I can just click the pencil icon, as well as if I want to delete, I can just click the trash icon. There is another way that we can enter in staff, but this is the only way that you can enter in staff and link them to a course. Okay. When we go to manage staff, it's just specifically entering in staff information into Cdis, but this is linking the staff to the course. So that's why that information is important here. So this is a manual entry. If I wanted to import a course, I can do that, and I'll show you how to do that now. So in our guide, we're going to go to importing courses, and that's on page, just had it. 1 second. Page 40 is our importing courses information. And just like we did with our other step, we're going to head to our data entry, and we're going to select import courses. And it does prompt me to select my building. Yes. If you've checked it and you're still getting error messages, yes, I would contact the help desk. um, so I would select my building that I want to import the courses into. So I would select there, and then it shows me that I can import my course file. So I'm going to select that button, and then it opens the window for me to select the course that I want to or the course information that I want to import. So I'm going to select my document. It's an Excel document, and click open. Okay, so as you see, I have my correct information in for my course. And I have the green indicator, which over here on the side, you see that the green is add, the blue is update, and then like the light blue is renew. I'm sorry, light green is renew. So I've got in all of my information into my Excel document, and I've imported that information over to Cdis. So the headings for this information, I'll show you where these headings are if you want to do imports for courses. But I've entered in all of the correct information, and now I can upload that information into Cdis and get a success message. In the event that something was in error, I'll remove this and give a demonstration here. Let's say, for instance, I put in the wrong building information for my course, and now I have the red indicator. So it says invalid program. Please check and make sure your PSN is correct and can't determine competencies. I would then have to remove that file, correct it offline, correct my Excel document offline, make sure I got all of the correct information, and then upload the file again. So I'll remove the file. Oh, I determined, okay, I had the wrong building. So here, I'll do here, and I'll import the course file again, select it, open, and then now I'm all set. So that could happen for something. So just make sure that you remove the file, make your corrections offline, and then import the file again. You can export this document if you want for offline, if you want to review with instructors or, just for verification purposes. You can export. So then you click the export button and it will export into an Excel workbook for you. You can do that. Or like I said, just go ahead and upload that information, and then you would get a success message from Cdis. Okay? So that's how you would import a file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my screen to show you where those headers are for importing files. So just 1 second. Okay, we're back to our knowledge base, and we are data entry, and we're going to go to imports. And as you see here, we have a couple of different options here. We have our importing students guide. We're going to get that in a moment, but we're in courses. So there's a guide specific to importing courses that you can use on our knowledge base. And then our file formats for importing students is here. Again, we're going to get to that section in a minute, but we're in our importing courses. So the course Excel file import specifications, as well as the template for Perkins 4 and Perkins 5. There's a link for you to get the headings there. So all of the information that you need to create your import file for your Perkins 4 or Perkins 5 courses, you can click this link to get that. It's a template. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why it keeps cutting out. I'm not getting any error messages. Um, it may be my headset. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, is it good now? Can you all hear? Okay. All right. So, thank you. Thank you for your responses. So that is the information where you can get for importing. All right. Okay, we're going to go back to our training site. So we have done how to manually add a course. I've just showed you how to import a course. Now we're going to go to mass edits. I'll get you the page number in our guide. Mass course edits are on page 37 of our guide. Okay, and I'm sharing our screen for our guide just to get through the information a little better. Okay, so a mass course edit is useful in the case if you need to update multiple detail fields across several course section records. If you need to adjust the beginning and end dates of old courses to roll them into the current year. You can also try it when you need to change course beginning and end dates. A building begins block scheduling. Semesters or trimesters are implemented mid-year. High school or college credits awarded by a class must be corrected. Okay, so just like we did in all of the other procedures, we'll go to data entry and select mass course edits here. All right, so we're back here to you should be back on our demonstration screen. So we're clicking the data entry and we're going to mass course edit. Okay, so it prompts me to select my district or search for my district. So I can click it here and click my district, or I can type it in. Okay, so this is the information for my district. Again, I come up with 121 records. If I want to filter that, I can do that just like I did in my other screen for managed courses. I can go through and type, or I can use the arrows that appear if I hover over the columns. Okay. Again, it shows all of my active courses to the right here. And in this one, we're going to actually select the boxes. So if I have like multiple courses that I want to do edits on, I can select that there. Okay. So we'll just select the first 3 and then we'll click the update courses button if I want to update. This is the first example that we're going to use. We're on to page 38 and 39 of our guide. So I can then enter in the information if it changes, like I stated earlier. If you need to change the beginning and end dates of a course, you need to select or change semester information. We switched to go to blended learning. We're no longer not virtual, we're blended in all 3 of these courses. I can select that information there. I want to change high school or college credit information. I can select that information here. And then I would just click the update courses button. And then I would get a success message from Cdis that all 3 of these courses have been updated with the information that I entered in. Okay. So I can do that by selecting all of the ones, just clicking the box here to select multiple records. The same would go if I wanted to deactivate a course or courses for any reason, just click the deactivate course button, and these 3 courses, I can then just click the deactivate and deactivate them. So again, the information would still be there, but they would be non-active. If for whatever reason I needed to deactivate courses. Just a special note, the deactivated courses no longer appear in the mass course edit grid, but they do appear as inactive courses when viewed in the managed courses screen, as I stated earlier. Okay, so that's mass course edit. Now we're on to reviewing our courses. Okay. We're on to page 42 of our guide. And I'll give you a couple options on how to review your courses. Once you've entered in your course information, you can now review it just to make sure that the information is correct. We're on page 42, and I'm now sharing our guide. To review your courses, need that to be still. Okay. To review your courses, you will need to generate the following reports. Your 3-year instructional design report. You should have got information earlier this year informing you all that this is now an export. So the 3-year instructional design export shows the courses operating during the period of selected years, allowing you to easily view program segment and competency information. You may use this export to verify that your course entry within Cdis is accurate for the current year. Your courses offer the 12 segments or competencies required for your programs to produce student advancement. And then it gives information of how it's grouped, your Perkins 4 and your Perkins 5. Okay. These 2 examples here of how these are 2 examples of how they will appear when you pull up the export. So it has the PSN, the zip code, the building, and then total segments or competencies available in the program. And all of them are listed in column order. Okay. And that information is there. So it's an export. I'll show you where to get this information, but just make note that you export the information and review it that way. Mixed in, no. Let's see. So it's grouped. Let's see. How do we do this? The first record in the group is entered the program record. And then the second is grouped by year and course section code. So if you could see it, I'll actually just demonstrate it for you. 1 second. Let's get over there. All right. So if we want to generate this export, we go to reports, and then we select building reports. Okay, so this is our building report information. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to select the 3-year instructional design report export. And then we'll select our building. And then as you can see, here's the information here. Okay, so those are all our P4 courses. I'm trying to see here. They're not mixed in. Again, this is a demo. I'm trying to show where they may be. 1 second. I got happy. 1 second, I'll show you what to use it for. Okay, well, I don't have an example here, but it is grouped separately. In the example here, you have your your P5s and your P4s. They're grouped by year, then course section code, and then it lists what segments or competencies have been provided in each subsection. So they're not all mixed in together to answer that question. To answer the question, what we would use the export for is to review course information. So we just input the course information into Cdis. If there's any reason why I would need to review that, which it is recommended that I would use this export to just verify information. Okay. It says from this data, the path of courses a student would enroll in over time can be charted, and the segments and or competencies reviewed to ensure that advancement is possible and optimized. We also have another competency profile report if you want to review that information, but we'll come to that later. But this is just reviewing courses. It is still the 3-year instructional report, but it's now an export. That was a recent change. Okay, another resource that you can use for reviewing your courses is the list of courses by building. So you can go in and show all of the courses running during the current school year within a selected building. And you can use this report to verify that your course entry within a specific building is accurate for the current year. And if you need to verify that information with building administrators or instructors, you can do that also with the course listing for building information. On pages 45, it shows how you can print these reports or generate the reports that I'm talking about. And then I'll show you where that other report is. So we'll go to the course listing for building. So we're back here. We went under reports and building reports to get here. Okay. List of courses by building is down here at the bottom. Listing of active courses within a building. So if you need to review that information, you can. This is just as a review process for your course. So you would select the link there, and then it would generate again for you to select your building. And then you can look at your information there as well. Specific year located over here on the side. But these are all just review resources. Okay, so we have went over how to add courses, how to import courses, mass edit, and then a course review. So you have all of that information available to you. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next section. And that section is manage staff. And I kind of covered this a little bit when we were creating our courses manually. But Cdis requires proper instructor information for each course section, which you may update using the Manage Staff screen. In this section, we will cover how to create and edit staff records, and then how to add staff to courses. We kind of went through a little bit earlier. So we're going to head over to the demonstration again and show you where to input your staff information. Okay. Okay, so we're back here. We're going to go to data entry again, and then we're going to select manage staff. If you're following along in our guide, we're on page 73. Okay, so just points to remember when managing staff, make sure that verify that all of your teachers and paraprofessionals within your operating buildings are reported. So you want to make sure that they're in the system. To make sure that your primary teachers are linked to their respective courses, again, you will go to the manage courses screen like we did to add staff to specific courses. Okay, so we'll follow the procedures from earlier to do that, to link them to specific courses. But this screen is just to update staff information. Okay, so Cdis gives reporters the option to include several pieces of data when updating or creating staff records. While many of the input fields are provided for local use, when creating a new staff record, please remember the fields marked with an asterisk do require valid input, just as it did in the course sections. Okay, so as we see here, our PIC or PIC, our first name, last name, all of that information is required. The other information is like it stated for local use. It'd be very useful for local use, but it's not required to make a Cdis entry. Okay, so we'll enter in that the PIC indicates whether staff member's PIC is currently valid. So that indicator is up here. And this information is supplied by OCTE, and you can't edit that information. But the PIC is the personal identification code as reported. What happened? 1 second. I believe you all are still there. Okay. The personal identification code as reported by the Registry of Educational Personnel, or REP. So that's what the PIC number is. The state of Michigan provides helpful personnel search user guide. If you're on our enrollment guide, you're on page 75. There's a link there that will link you to the personnel search user guide, or REP, which includes instructions on how to search for an existing PIC number. If you do not have REP login credentials, the Michigan Online Educator Certification System is an online public credential system that does not require REP login. And there's a link on page 75 to that, to be able to search and verify employee information that way. Okay, so first name, last name, middle initial, date of birth, and gender are all there, and we can fill out that information. The expiration date is optional, might be useful to you in other ways. Same for certifications, optional, but the information is there if you need that. If you need to edit staff information, we're on to page 77. You just want to click the Apple icon here of a record over here. And as I stated, this shows whether the pick is valid or invalid. This is an invalid pick, but we have all of our information here. And then if we need to change any information that we might need to change here, we can do that and then click the Update Staff button. And this is an example of a valid pick number with the date. And then we can use that to make any changes. Our filtering options are up here as well. If we want to use that option, we can do that. We can filter records if we need to, but this is all of the staff information from the registry that is located here. So all of that information is there. So first column is pick number, last name, first name, middle. All of that information is there. So that's how we can manually enter staff. If we want to add staff to a course, remember we head over to manage courses. And then if we want to, we select our district. If we want to just add them to an existing course, we would click the book icon and then head over to the course staff panel and enter them in there. If we're creating a new course like we did earlier, we would click the create new course button, put in our course information, and then add them there. Okay, so that's how to update staff. Okay, so now we're on to manage students. We've done our staff, we've input our course information. Now we need to put the student information in. We need to add some students. If you're following along in our guide, we're on page 78, manage students. Student records are an important part of your spring enrollment and completion collection. Some student information in the Cdis supplements the data required by the MSDS. So addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses on file in the Cdis database are used during the follow-up reporting cycle that begins each fall. And I will make a special note that it is important that you enter in that information for your use at a later date. If you're going to be doing, well, everyone's doing follow-up in the fall. If you enter in the correct information when you receive it, then you can use that information going forward to contact your students if needed. Federal reports also require that student data, especially credentials and special populations. So the federal reports require that student data. Okay, so you want to make sure that all of it is entered in accurately. So in this section, we'll show you how to add students manually, how to import students, and then review student information, just like we did with our course. Okay, so we're going to go over to our training site. We'll go to data entry and then manage students. Okay, so we're on the manage student screen. We're going to select our building, just like we've done. So this building that the students will be taking courses in. And then it shows that in this building, I have 318 records that are already here. Okay, so these are existing students. I can view information if I want to include students who left school. That's the checkbox over here. If I need to locate that information of the student records here. And just like in the courses, there's a lot of records here. If I want to filter that information, I can do that. Or if I want to search a student that's already in the system by UIC and last name, I can put that information here and click the search feature. For this one, we're going to do a manual information. So we would click add student, and then it would take us to this section here. Just as we did with our previous section, adding staff, we have our asterisks, which indicate our core information that has to be entered for Cdis to create a record. So first name, last name, date of birth, and gender. The address again, and city, state, zip, and email are all optional information, but you need that information for the student records going forward. So it's not, when I say optional, it's not indicated by asterisks, but you do need that information. So make sure that you do enter in that information. Okay. So phone, address, city, state, zip, email. You can use that information for fall reporting. The sending facility is another required field. And you could use the drop down menu to choose the school where the student takes regular academic courses. They give information to if you have a case of homeschool students on page 82 of our guide. So you want to make note of that. If there is a case where you have homeschool students, it says that you would, if the only courses the student is taking in a public school are CTE courses, then the sending facility should be the building where the CTE courses are being taken. And then if a student is enrolled in any non-CTE courses in a public school, such as music or special ed education, then the sending facility should be the building where the student is taking any non-CTE courses. So just keep that in mind. I'll bring your attention to the UIC panel over here on the side. Here, this is where the student UIC information would go. And all students enrolled in a state-approved CTE program must have one, including homeschooled and privately schooled students. They have a unique identifier code. And that is assigned by the CEPI, the Center for Educational Performance and Information. And the UIC must, those entries must also match the code with this. Okay, so we would enter in all of that information and then click add student. Just bring your attention over to the MSDS panel. This is information that we also need. Okay, so on page 83, there's information pertaining to all of the fields that are here. Okay, so all of the information is there. You can enter in. Well, this information is entered in with the records, but you want to make sure that you enter in whether or not single parent or out of workforce applies to your student. You want to make sure that you have that information, and that's on page 84 and 85. So if that applies, however it applies, you enter in that information for the student record. Okay. I have to check into how you can find out if it's a single parent. Where that information might be located for you. I don't have that right here. I can look into that and send out information what I get. I don't have that right here. So I'll check into that answer for you. But it is something that is noted as something that needs to be entered in. So I'll get that information. Okay. So we'll check on that. All right. So if we're entering in a student manually, that's what we would do here. Just as we did with our importing with our courses, we'll show you how to import student information. So we're going to change gears just a bit. We're going to go to importing students. So this is a manual entry. Now we're going into importing. Our importing students is on page 88 of our guide. Okay, so to import students, you head to data entry and then select student course enrollment import. We're going to select the building that we want to import the student information into. And just like we did with our courses, it gives us the prompt to import enrollment file. So this process is just the same as importing courses. We'll select our document. I have my Excel document already ready, and I showed you where those headers are for students on our knowledge base if you want to create a document. So you can do that. We're going to open. And then this is my student information. Okay. So so it shows that I have errors here. For our students, my enrollment is green, just as it's in this Kingsford High School school, but my student has errors. So I'm going to remove the file and I'm going to change my building because I picked the wrong building for this demonstration. We're going to import that file again. And then now I could see that my student information is correct. So I kind of got a mismatch here. I got students in a different building. But just for the demonstration, I see that I have my student's first name, last name, the UIC, all of the information is there that I just indicated, and want to make sure that those come up either green, blue. If they come up red, it's an error. Okay, so if you can see, the student field is blue. The enrollment field has errors. Okay, so we would want to correct that and make sure that that information is accurate. We can export that information just like we did with courses if we want to look at the information offline to review. But if I'm ready to upload my student information and it's good, I can click the upload button and get a success message from Cdis that the two total enrollments have been updated. Okay, so we've showed how to add students, how to import students. We'll go back to our Manage Students screen. And select our building. And then I'm going to select a student record here. Okay. Now we're in the field, the panel where the student record information is. So I can, if I need to change any information regarding student information, I could do that by editing the fields. This is an example of how all of the information might appear on your screen. All of the information is entered in here. I could also select whether or not those apply. The check UIC button is here now. So if I want to ever, we're on page 90 of our guide. You can review your students by using the check UIC button, and then I'll show you 2 reports that you can use as well. But UICs are checked every time a student record is stored manually. In the UIC panel of the Manage Students screen, you could enter a student's core fields, which is the fields that are over here indicated by an asterisk, and then click the Check UIC button to verify a student UIC without saving the student record. Okay, so that's one way that you can just check student information. Cdis automatically checks UICs included with imported records, but it may take 2 to 3 days to do so. So to expedite the process, you can use the Check UIC button. The results from using the Check UIC button will tell you if the UIC provided is recognized as a primary or secondary UIC, or if it is unlinked. This is useful for resolving UIC errors. So if you have an error, you might want to check that out. On page 90, it also states this information of what I just did to check. And you can use that to verify student information. On page 91 and 92, I'm sorry, 91 specifically, the BAT UIC by building report, I'll show you where that's located. So we're going to go to reports and then building report. And this is, again, just other verification tools for reviewing students. So here we see it says BAT UIC by building. I can select that report and it gives me a list of invalid student UICs. So I can verify that. You can use that report to locate and print students who do not pass the enrollment validation check. The UIC with no current or MSDS report is the next one. UIC with no current MSDS, and it lists the students with non-updated information with the MSDS. You can use that report to verify that all your students have been updated through Cdis and contain matching records with the MSDS. It says to check your UIC resolver to fix student UIC and MSDS issues. So that was paid. We've showed how to students manually using the Manage Student screen. Showed you how to import students using the import tool. And these are 2 ways and 2 reports that you can use to review student information. I'm so sorry. Sure, absolutely. You hear me now, right? I can definitely repeat that. Okay, so what we have here is this screen. We can do the BAT UIC by building report just to verify a list of invalid student UICs. And then the next report that we can use to verify student information is the UIC with no current MSDS. And it lists the students with not updated, that are not updated by the MSDS. And if you're following along in our guide, this is on page 91. And this is just reviewing student information. Okay. So those are a couple ways we can review student information. So we have showed you how to add students, how to import students, and then how to review student information. All right, so we're on to manage enrollment. Okay. If you're following along in our guide, we're on page 92. I guess I'll ask everyone how they're feeling. We usually take a break here, a 10-minute break, so that I can kind of reset my screens. Are you all wanting a break at this point, or do you want me to keep going? Okay. All right. So we're going to, before we go into enrollments, we're going to take a 10-minute break. And I have a counter, so I'm gonna start that counter. I'm gonna share my screen, so we're all on the same page. So we're gonna take a break, and I'm gonna set that up here. I'll start it over. That wasn't fair. Okay, so now we're on our break. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are back. And again, just want to make sure that you all can hear me again, that my audio is back in. Okay, perfect. Welcome back from your break. We're going to get started on manage enrollment. Okay. So, with the manage enrollment feature, you can enroll students into courses, edit student enrollment information, copy or transfer enrollment students from one class to another. You can print a class list, input student grades, and then check the segments or competencies students are enrolled in. Course section enrollments are entered and updated within Cdis during each new school year. While managing enrollments, you can edit enrollment lists, copy or transfer students, as I stated, from one course section to another, view courses operating within the current school year, and print class enrollment list. Updating student grades is also a part of this process. So in this manage enrollment section, we will cover how to add and edit enrollments, importing enrollments, adding grades, and then we'll give you the features to review the enrollments. Okay, so as we've been doing, we're going to go back to our demo. This is where we left off, but we're going to go to data entry, and then we're going to go to manage enrollment. If you are following along in our guide, we're on page 92. Okay, just as it has done just as we have done in other processes, we're going to select our district. And then it shows me that I have 121 records of courses within this district. So I can filter that information on this screen as well. I can also export if I want to review this information offline. So all of that information is the same as it was with others. All right. If I click the book icon of a course that I want to update, the enrolled students are displayed in the grid, and you may sort by clicking on the various column headers. Okay, so just like we did with the courses. If I click on the class list report, this button quickly access and print a class student list. So it could use that report to obtain sign off if that's a procedure that you use in your buildings. For each student's grade and segments or competencies. So that's the class list report button here if I want to click that. So for this demonstration, we're going to click the book icon. And as we see, it opens up a screen down at the bottom here and gives me some information. Okay. So it shows all of the enrolled students. I have a total of 5 enrollments in this particular class. It shows my course section code, whether or not it offers college credit, and the dates, the start and end dates. And then these are all of my enrolled students that are in the course. I can click the enroll students button if I want. This is to enroll students within a particular course. Select the district again. I can also search students by UIC or by entering in the first or last name. Okay, so as we see, we pulled one student in the district that I am available to add this student to this course. Okay, so then I would just click this here, and then that student, I would just click the subsection A, and then that student would be updated in Cdis. Okay, so that's if I was to to enroll a new student into a course. This is if, now we're going to close this out. If you're following in our guide, we're on to page 95. To edit enrolled students, I can click the rows of the students that I want to edit. So let's say I want to edit three students. I can then, so we did enroll. We're going to now do update enroll students. And as we can see, there are several boxes that appear. I can change dates if I need to, and then I could just click the update panel here, update dates. Work-based learning, we're going to get into in just a minute, but if I wanted to update any work-based learning codes, I can enter that here, as well as the high school or college credit information. Grades is now a selection that appears here. Now I can enter in the same grade for these three students if I wanted to change that information, and then click the update grades. Same as subsection. I only have one option, but you will have different information on your screen. And then I could just click the update subsection if I needed to do that. And then it would change the record for all three of these students. I would get a success message from Cdis, and then that information would be updated. Just to bring your attention to the bottom of the window, the delete enrollments button, you click that button to delete selected student enrollments from the course section. So if you need to delete a student enrollment from a course section, you would click the delete enrollment button, if that's something you need to do. Okay, since I have these students selected, we're going to close this. So if I wanted to make any edits in there, I can do that separately. Okay, if the information isn't changing, then I leave that the same. So since I have these students selected, I'm going to bring your attention to the last button, which is the copy transfer student button. So I click that. And I can then select a new course that I want to copy or transfer the student information into. And then also the date information can, and the subsection information can change. So then I could then select whether I want to copy or transfer. And I have my selected students there. One other way that we can edit information is just clicking right in the panel. I can then use the drop down menus here to be able to change. I could change dates, grades, okay, subsection information, and then I could just click update. I could do that for each of the enrollments there. If you're following along in our guide, we're on page 97. And we have information pertaining to copying and transferring enrollment. On page 98, it talks about how to input grades. So I just showed how to select that if you wanted to change grades. You can select and do update enroll students and change grades here in this panel. Or I could just change grades by clicking edit in the column here and just select the grades here if I want to do it one by one. I could select multiple or do it one by one. On page 100, there is a letter grade definitions and comparable GPAs chart. So if you notice, there are other options other than the A, B, C grade. There are other letters here. There's information pertaining to that on page 100 of our guide. We'll get into numerical information in our imports in just a moment. That's going to start on page 100, but this guide is useful if you want to review of the equivalent of the letter to what the meaning is to the grades other than the A, B, C, D, E. That's available on page 100. Okay, so that's how we can edit student enrollments by clicking on a course code and then reviewing the enrollments and selecting the information. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to, on page 101 of our guide, how to import enrollments. So we'll go to we'll go to data entry, and then we're going to go to I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay, so we're going to go to student course enrollment import. I'm sorry. And we would just do just like we would do that we did in the same process. We would select our building and then import our enrollment file. As stated, I'm going to share this tab here so I can share the information with you. If you want to import enrollment, it could be important because importing enrollments is a very efficient way of updating several records. Imported enrollment records can be edited later if necessary. So if you change your records in your Excel file, you could just, as we stated in the process earlier, you can remove the file and then upload the file again. So if you want to change it that way, you can do that instead of going through and deleting them in the system. And it says importing enrollments is more accurate than manual data entry. Okay, so before you begin importing enrollments, you want to make sure that you identify the data that you need and format the data for easy import. And I gave you that that link that you can use to set up your enrollment files, and you can put the headers in there that you need to. Special note right here is the import process is similar to importing students. However, grade import files differ in that they must also include column headings labeled CSC or CRSGRD course grade. Importing is also the only method in which reporters may enter numeric grades on a 4-point scale into Cdis. So just keep that in mind. You want to add those two headings if you want to import your enrollments to your import files that you already created. So you could just add another column. Student imports. Okay. PowerSchool shows preferred name. It isn't until. Okay, I haven't gotten that information I haven't been notified of the preferred name information. But as I could definitely look into that for you. Okay. So we'll look into that as well. But we want to make sure that we have those headings for importing imports here. Okay, we're back to our demonstration. To review enrollment information, okay? So I showed you how to add and edit enrollments, importing enrollments, adding grades, we've went over. Now we're on to reviewing your enrollments. Okay, so if you open the Manage Student screen, we're back to the Manage Student screen. So data entry, Manage Students, select their building. Okay, so this shows again our students. I'm going to select the student record, click the student icon, and it pulls up a record here, just like we were in this screen a few minutes ago, or a little while back. But now we're looking down here at the bottom in our enrollment information. And over on the left panel, it shows the programs. I have zip codes and I have program names and completion statuses. Okay. And then in the middle section, I have current enrollment. So it shows like my grades, the dates for the courses that I'm enrolled in, or this student is enrolled in, and it shows all of the information there. Okay. In the programs panel, you can click on the zip code to open the program enrollment details panel. Okay, so this one, there's no information. These are blank. So the segment not taken, that's one example. Okay, so this one is a participant, so he hasn't met the requirements yet. Okay, but this one, it shows that we have all. Okay, so you can check this information to view a chart of the segments that the student has received credit for, as well as those pending for the current semester. You can verify that students are in the correct subsection and assigned to segments with this enrollment details panel. It provides a chart of the segments a student has received credit for. Okay, the X within one of the codes here under the number indicate the student has received a passing grade in a course delivering that segment. So that's X. Okay, and E, and this is the key right here, within a segment indicates that the student is currently enrolled, and then a blank is the segment not taken. Okay, so that's a way to review enrollments. So we clicked on that zip code and it gives us all of the information. It shows the completion status of a completer for this program. It shows all of the segments and a queue that the student has taken. And that's all of the information in that panel. Okay. If we also want to review our enrollments, we can review the class student list that contains details of the courses operating within a selected building. It includes segment information, grades, student enter and exit dates, and you can use this report to verify that your students have been enrolled into the correct courses. and students are placed in the appropriate subsection and will receive credit for the current segments. And I'll show you where that class student list is. We're going to go back to the Reports tab, and we're going to select Building Reports. And it's the first section here, Class Student List. Yes. Yes, the info is entered into Cdis when you do the import. As long as you have those other course, the headers. I'll show you on page of our guide, on page 101. These two specifically, CSC and CRSGRD, are two headers that you want to add to your import record. If you want to import your enrollments, you want to make sure that's there. And then you can enter in the grades there. Okay, so let's see here. That was the enrollment information. We are now on to credentials. Manage credentials is on page 46 of our guide. Okay, so before submitting your final enrollment data for review, you will need to indicate if any of your certifications or other credentials you will need to indicate any certifications or other credentials your students attained during the current school year. You want to enter all credentials received by students each year so that Cdis may determine when each student qualifies for the post-secondary credential indicator. Each of your programs must either list the students who receive credentials in the current year or state that no credentials were provided in the current year. And credentials will be reviewed for accuracy during the validation process. That's the one that we're going to demonstrate at the end. And you may also view this information as part of the student's profile on the Manage Students screen. So we showed that earlier. The Manage Credential feature allows you to view, edit, and import student certifications. And we'll show you how to do that on our demonstration right now. So we're going to go back to our Train Cdis site. We're going to go to Data Entry, and we're going to go to Manage Credentials. Okay. So just as it did in our previous processes, we need to select our district. And then this one shows that I have 17 programs found in this district. Again, I can filter that information using the column headers if I need to, or I can export the information by clicking that button if I want to review it offline. Okay, so we'll select a program by hitting the select button, and it immediately takes me down and shows me the program information. Okay, the district, the program, the zip code, the type, the PSN, and then it shows this panel here. And this panel, I could select all currently enrolled, or I can select a particular class or course, or I can select in school but not enrolled. Bring your attention to the center here. If the selected program does not offer certifications, I would need to mark that here. Okay, so this one is marked. It will not have any credentials. But if it does have credentials, I can select on a course, and then I could select the Get Students course to award the student the credentials. So we see that in the automotive technology course, the first section, the first selection I picked, I have 14 students in this course. You can see by the boxes over on, sorry, you can see by the boxes over on the side, the left side, I can select a number of students, and then down here at the bottom, I can select the authorized credentials. And there's a list of authorized credentials here. There's also a drop down for supplemental credentials. And then I could type in information for a suggested credential. Okay. I then click the Add Credential. And then it shows that all of the students that I selected and highlighted, that credential is now added. And it gives me a message from Cdis, added successfully. So I'm just going to go through and remove here. So that's the information. Again, if the program does not offer any credentials, I want to make sure that that's highlighted. So then when I do my validation in the end, my validation check, I won't come back with any errors regarding credentials. Okay, so just to go back for a moment, we're now back on our knowledge base. I just want to give you that information again. Go to data entry and click enrollments. And then if you slide down, if you're under special collections, there's a credentials list here. There's a managed credentials guide. And then there's a credentials approved and non-approved updated list as of 2022. That was just updated. So you can utilize that information there for a list of approved and non-approved. Okay. So that was our managed credentials. Let's see here. We're on our guide. If we want to import credentials, Cdis can import Excel files that include the following fields. You want to make sure that your Excel file has these columns: the USC, the PSN, the credential code, and then the credential name. Okay, so make sure that your record has that, your Excel file. And then to import your data, you would do just as we did with our other, we would click the data entry tab and then click upload credentials. We can then choose the file that we wish to upload. And then just as it did in any other circumstance that we did today, the errors are displayed in red. You would need to remove the file, correct it, and then upload the file again. If you do receive the success message from Cdis, if it's green or blue and you're good to go, you can click the import records button to import that information into Cdis. And if you're importing and you have all of your documents on one Excel file, number 5 is if you're not going to have any credentials, you can add for a particular program, you can add the row to your import file with the PSN and the UIC of 9s and the credential code of X, and then Cdis will mark the program as offering no credentials. So this is if you have a file with multiple courses on there, and one particular course will not offer it. You can use that information to indicate that, and Cdis will then generate that this program does not offer credentials. On page 51, it talks about if your import file contains headers beyond the 4 in the table above, Cdis will ignore them. So just keep that in mind. And then on page 52, importing credentials, there's a potential errors and resolution guide or chart. So just keep that information on hand just in case you get some error messages. That's a great question. I know that the possibility to do so is there. Whether or not they actually do that, I wonder. I'm not quite sure. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you for your response. So someone said they usually wait. So, yeah, I guess it depends on, yeah. Thanks for that response. Okay. Um we are now going to move on. I'm going to go back here. We're almost done here. We are on to work-based learning, and this works just like credentials, okay? So, work-based learning is an element within the career and technical education that provides students with the opportunity to learn a variety of skills by expanding the classroom into the community. The work-based learning continuum describes the nature of the experiences that students may receive. Um, Work-based learning resources for teachers, learning coordinators, and others responsible for identifying work-based learning experiences may be found on the OCTE website. And there are several ways that you can enter your work-based learning experiences. If you track work-based learning by program, you will be able to enter those experiences by student by program. If you track your work-based learning through student course offerings, you will be able to enter those experiences along with your enrollment data. Okay, final reporting will be based on the number of experiences a student has in a program during a year. So in this section, we're going to discuss just like we did. We're going to show how to add and edit work-based learning, and then how to import your work-based learning. Okay. So we're going to go over to our, we're going to go to data entry, and then we're down. So this is the manage credentials and then upload credentials if you want to import your credentials. I didn't show that earlier. But now we're on to manage work-based learning, and then this is the link if you want to import your work-based learning. Okay, so we're going to go to manual entry for your work-based learning. If you're following in our guide, we're on page 53. This is page 54 of our guide, and it shows the work-based learning continuum. Okay, so we have career awareness, career exploration, career training, and career preparation. So you may see the A, the E's, the P's, the T's, and the Y's. Um, so that's what those are indicating. There are, I stated earlier, there are a couple ways that you can enter your work-based learnings. You could do it through your enrollments or through your programs. In all cases, you will be entering letter codes for each experience into a field. And then the codes are as follows. So the career awareness is A, career exploration is E, career preparation is P, career training, and then is T, and registered youth apprenticeship is Y. So each experience should be entered as an individual character, and Cdis will accept up to 30 characters per entry. So this person has 2 career awareness, 1 career exploration, and 3 career trainings. If you want to look at a guide again for the work-based learning continuum, there's a link on our knowledge base on page 57. You can click that and it'll be navigated to that information. And on our knowledge base, this is where we are again. We were on data entry under enrollments. You can also get work-based learning guides and tracking sheets and information over here under special collections. All right, so we're on our work-based learning demo. Oh. Okay, so they're separate for credentials and student grades. Okay, I do apologize for that. All right. We'll make note of that. Okay, so we're in select our district. And then select, we see that we have 17 programs found. We're in select our program. And just as it was in our credentials, we have our program details, whether or not this course will offer any work-based learning experiences. We want to make sure that's either checked or not checked. Okay, so if it's not checked, we can select a course and then we can select show students. And then this is the students listed in this particular course. And then I can then select each student record or multiple records if I want to do that, and then enter in the experiences over here. If you're following in our guide, we're on to page 62, and you can overwrite or append events. So to overwrite, this button removes previous experiences from the marked student records and replaces them with your newly entered experiences. If you want to append, this button adds newly entered experiences to those previously associated with the marked student. So you can add work-based learning experiences. I'm trying to see. I thought that this one had. Let's pick another. Okay, well, the work-based learning events will be here. It's probably the program that I picked that we don't have any in for the demo. So here we are. Okay, so this is an example of the work-based learning events that are entered in. And there's also a delete button if I want to delete that information, but I can select that and then add to these experiences over here by selecting one of the two here. Okay. We're back in our guide. This is information if I want to generate a work-based learning report. And then this is the information if I want to import work-based learning entries. Okay, so you're on page 64 of our guide. And we would go to the data entry menu just as I showed, and then import work-based learning. We could choose the file, just as we stated with the other imports, and then load the records of the file. And then again, if there's errors, we need to remove the file, correct the errors offline, and then re-enter the file again. And then this is just an example of what it may look like on page 65. It says specifically Cdis will check your import file to ensure that students are in the correct PSN. PSNs are buildings you have access to, and work-based learning experiences are valid and included. So you just want to make sure you have that information. If you want to manage your work-based learning through enrollments, you could do that as I stated in the earlier demonstration. If you go under manage enrollments, you can then select the work-based learning in the panel and then award or indicate work-based learning experiences that way. And we kind of demonstrated that earlier. And that's an example there of what we did earlier. And then indicate whether or not it's going to offer work-based learning experiences. If it's not, then we want to make sure we indicate that. On page 70 is a work-based learning import table. So we want to make sure that we have these correct columns and that those that information is in our Excel file for our importing. That's on page 70 and 71. And then the information for the due dates and other information pertaining to work-based learning is located on page 72. Okay. Okay, so we showed our work-based learning information. We showed how to manually how to import. Was there anything else I wanted to show? Oh, nope, that was it. How to add and edit credentials, and then how to, I'm sorry, work-based learning. How to add and edit work-based learning, and then how to import your work-based learning Excel documents. So now we're on to review, and we're just about done here. You want to review your building reports. Okay, so 2 options to review your building reports. So after you have input all your student, class, and enrollment data, it is recommended that you verify your information for accuracy. These reports and exports are helpful in reviewing data. It is important to note that there has been changes to the design and access of some of these building reports and how you access them. The Program Enrollment History Report, which is an export now, to help verify student enrollments. The reason that it is an export is that now it can verify very large exports. So that's been a change. So this export can be used to verify that your students are advancing as expected. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our demonstration to show you where this is. If you were on our on your site, on your Cdis site. Okay, so we're back here. We're going to go to reports and then building reports. And then we're going to go all the way down, and it's right here in the middle section under program and student reports. It's the program enrollment history. Export. You select your building, and then it generates your list that you can export to Excel for review. Okay. And again, the way that it's I would say segmented is it's broken up by information. So you got your P4 and your P5. So all of that information is there. Your program competency sections are here. All of that here, your operating buildings, sending facilities, all of that is there. Grades, advancement status. Oh, yep, no problem. So this one is the program enrollment history report. And I'll show where it is again. I'm sorry that the screen is lagging for you. Okay, so this here, I'm going to close this here. This one is here. So you go to reports and then building reports, and it's right here in the center. Program, I'm sorry, where'd it go? Program enrollment history. You select that, and that's where I was. And then the other option is the competency profile page. And previous year information can be found here as well. So you're going to go to reports, but this time you're going to go to competency profile. And then you're going to select the program, and you can look at it specific by program. So you can review information pertaining to each program that way, and the student competency profile reports. So that's two options. You can use the program enrollment history report or this competency profile. And then these reports are helpful to verify that your students have been enrolled into correct courses for the current year, and your courses encourage student advancement. Okay, so after we've done that, reporters should utilize the Cdis validation tool frequently, as your data entries must match those on record in the MSDS before you may submit your final information. Validation provides you with valuable information regarding the accuracy of your data, as well as access to additional reports that allow you to analyze your potential student advancement profile. So I've showed you a couple different reports. Now I'm going to show you where we can validate our enrollment data. Okay, so these reports are available for the current year. So you can look at this information. So we're going to go back here. And again, we're just about done. This is the end of our process. All right, so we were here. We're going to go to data entry, and then we're going to go all the way down to enrollment completion. And I'll give a second for that to load just in case you all don't see it. Okay, so hopefully you all can see it now. This is the enrollment completion collection validation area. This is screen. So it lists the buildings, and then the year. I can select the year and the buildings. The 4483 RPT, and I'm not on my pages here. If you're in our guide, I'll give you that information really quickly. We're on page 105. Okay, so we would select the year, as I said, of the year in which you're compiling reports. And then your data grid displays a list of your active buildings. It says generally you would choose the current school year so you can begin validating your enrollment information. However, you may use the select year drop down list to access reports from previous years as well if you need to do that. So, if you click the 4483 RPT button, you can review data information and enrollments. That provides a summary of your course details and counts your student enrollments. Use this report to obtain sign-offs if that's what you do with your instructors, and that your courses have been properly added to Cdis and students have been correctly tabulated. That's the 4483 RPT. If you use the 4483 STD, which is our student button, you click that button to review student information. And that report is useful for verifying your individual student enrollments. Yes, I can definitely do that. Import spreadsheet, sure. Okay, so for the demonstration today, I'm going to click on this last button. I've been working in here. I've validated everything. I've made sure that everything was accurate. So I'm going to click validate just to run the validation report and make sure I don't have any errors. And as it states here, it says validation passes. Okay. I do have some warnings because I've been working in here and I've deleted some stuff. So one of the courses that I have is no longer reported. Okay. But it passes. I can then click this complete button and then that information will go over. But it shows that I don't have to fix anything. It's just I have deleted a course. The course no longer, I'll show you the message, reported for collections. So that's what that error is, but it does pass validation. If it did not pass validation, it would list all of the errors here as well as the number of errors that a building would have. Okay. I'm going to share on page 108. This is on our guide. You could troubleshoot enrollment data entry issues. So it tells you the error types and different things that you can check. On page 109, it gives the best practices for UIC resolution. If you get UIC errors or anything like that, you can use that information to check. Gives us further assistance. I've given some of these numbers, but there's also some additional numbers on page 109 that you can reach out to if you're having errors. Our issue tables start on page 110 and run through page 114. And then our warning messages are on page 115. We're down to page 121 where we're going to complete our report. And when you have verified, I'll change my screen now. One second. Okay, how many lines of records can we import at once? I have to check on that. I'll get that information to you. I'm taking all of the questions that I wasn't able to answer in the course, and I'll try to get you that information. So now we're at the complete your report. Okay. So after validating your enrollment data and correcting all errors, you may mark your building complete. That was what I was just demonstrating on our other screen. Clicking the complete button within the building status column will place an X under the building status, and then it will lock your building from further editing. So once you click complete, it's locked. And then Cdis will attempt to notify your fiscal agent via email, but you should contact your fiscal agent personally to follow up your data submission. Okay, so then that's finishing that report. So that's sending all of that information in. Okay, so just to give you reference on the last page, page 121 shows the complete your report information, and then further information if you need it. Okay, so then we have some other information going forward, some codes and definitions and things of that nature, segment and grade charts, formats, as well as your course data headings, information. That's all at the bottom of the guide if you're going to use the guide here. Okay, so just to go back, I believe someone asked to share where the import information is, and we're going to go back to our knowledge base. So our knowledge base is support.cdis.com, and the importing information, if you go to data entry and then go down to imports, the importing guides are here. If you scroll down to the bottom, the file imports, the template for importing courses is down here at the bottom. If you want the importing headings file for students, it's in the middle here. And then our two guides are there. Okay, I hope that answered the question. So yeah, that's the import spreadsheet information there. Okay, so we're just at our end of our training. So we've showed all of our processes up into completing our report. Again, I have some questions that I'm going to be reaching out to our developers to try to answer, and I'll try to get you that information as soon as possible. But again, technical help, you can contact our help desk if you run into any problems. If you have questions pertaining to policy, contact Joan Church. Her information is there. Same to you. Thank you. Happy spring to everyone. Before you leave, I do want to drop our survey into the chat. Once I end this session, you will be prompted to complete a survey, and we really value your responses in our survey. So if you would be so kind to fill out this survey, I'll put it right here in the chat now. And give us your responses. It helps our survey. It helps our training out in so many ways. So please fill out that training evaluation. We will really appreciate it. This is the end of our training. So I'm going to stick around for a few more moments to see if anyone have any questions. But if not, you can exit out and just click that link to complete the survey for me. If not, you can hang out, and then when I click end, the survey will pop up. So thanks everyone for joining. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next training in a couple weeks, if that applies to you. So thanks again for from tuning in. I'm just gonna stick around for a moment. Okay, it looks like we're all set. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting, and please don't forget to to fill out the training evaluation at the end when I close the meeting. Again, thank you all for attending, and we will see you all next time. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.